Will Smith needs to go get himself a copy of Stop Simpin' from Amazon, and he also needs to pick up a copy of The Man Crisis. Links in the description, Will. Now available in paperback and coming to Kindle Unlimited. John Haynes, Dark Succubus. The man who rules the world is tempted by a sultry succubus in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Dark Succubus in paperback or pre-order on Kindle Unlimited today. Why am I telling Will Smith to go get himself a copy of Stop Simpin' and The Man Crisis? Well, the reason why I'm telling Will Smith to go get himself a copy of Stop Simpin' and The Man Crisis is because after I watched his interview on Red Table Talk, where Jada Pinkett Smith brought herself to the table for a Red Table Talk, I clearly saw a man who basically had not grown out of his simp phase and graduated into manhood. Because when I looked at Will Smith and the way he handled this alleged entanglement with Jada Pinkett Smith, it showed me that Will Smith is basically still in that simp phase, and he's so caught up in Jada that he can't see that Jada has no respect for him. Because when a woman says that she has to go out here and have an quote-unquote entanglement during a separation, it's showing that that woman is no longer interested in you. And Will practically confessed to the point in one of the aspects of that 12-minute interview that he had gotten tired of your Jada Pinkett, and I believe that Will clearly sees that Jada just isn't into him, and he's looking to try to hold on to Jada basically because he fears that if he files for divorce, he will lose half of his resources in that divorce. And going from being a $300 or $400 million man to $150 million plus paying alimony in the state of California is a very painful economic drop for a guy to go through. So Will probably believes it's cheaper to keep her, and he'd rather remain in a bad marriage for life than rather remain single and go back out into the dating marketplace. But your Will doesn't really see that things aren't going to get better as related to your Jada Pinkett. And your Jada Pinkett, from looking at her body language and facial expressions, was just going through the motions with Will in that interview. And she really has no respect for that man. When I listened to the way she was talking to him, she was basically on the 6th level of disrespect that your Tariq Nasheed talked about in a classic video he did, 7 Levels of Disrespect. And the sad part is, Will can't see where he is on those 7 levels of disrespect, because when a woman goes out here and believes that she can go out here and be out with other men, she is sending a message to you that she is looking for your replacement. And when a woman in a marriage is out here looking for your replacement, chances are she's getting ready to file for divorce sooner rather than later. So Will is trying to delay the pain of dealing with a divorce, but he doesn't understand that Jada has already played a chess move 7 or 8 steps ahead of him, and this Red Table Talk was another attempt to get ahead of him, and he played right into her hands. And once he played right into her hands, she got him to go on for this interview and set him up the same way she set up Snoop Dogg and practically had him emasculated on the air, is the same thing she did to her own husband. And when we look at Jada Pinkett's behavior over the last couple of years, we clearly see who the predator is in the relationship and who is taking advantage of whom. Now, your Jada Pinkett talks about this was an entanglement with August Alsina, but I don't believe that at all. At 48 years old and being a mother of 2, this woman knew better than to get involved with this young man. This young man was a friend of her son's. He was dealing with serious health issues, and even the most emotionally vulnerable woman out here, she is not going to look at a male who is her son's age as anybody she wants to get involved with romantically, because she knows that this boy is not on her level of maturity emotionally or mentally, and moreover, she is going to see this boy as a child. She's not going to see this boy on the same level as a man, and that's what any rational thinking woman out here is going to do, or even an irrational woman who is in an emotionally vulnerable state. She's not going to go out here and get involved with someone who is already dealing with health issues or somebody dealing with other issues, because she understands that there's a boundary between herself and this younger male, and she's going to see that younger male in a child role, not on a role as a suitable partner. No, the only people who would do that are female predators, and female predators look for weaker males because they know that with a weaker male, they can gain control in the relationship, gain leverage in the relationship, and then be the leader of that relationship. And it's clear to me from the types of guys that Jada Pinkett gets involved with that she is a female predator, and she oftentimes looks for weak beta males to pursue relationships with, like your Tupac Shakur, who was a quote-unquote nice guy, and he became a thug because he was tired of being used and abused by women. Now, your Tupac was one of these nice guys who came from a single mother household, and he wanted to be the friendly guy in the beginning, but when he found himself being verbally and physically abused and rejected by women, that's when he became the thug known as Tupac, and he thought that this was being attractive to women, but in actuality, he was not an integrated male or a God-centered male, and because he wasn't, he wound up just going from one side of the coin to the other. And your Jada was attracted to this type of guy, but she couldn't get with the Tupac, so she got with the Will Smith. So what she did was she monkey branched from the one type of nice guy to another type of nice guy, and she basically used your Will Smith as a tool, and she continues to use your Will Smith as a tool, and sadly, your Will Smith is consenting to this, even though he says he did not consent to the entanglement with August Alsina. He is consenting to being a complete simp, and he is still consenting to being disrespected, not understanding the game is chess, not checkers, when you deal with a predatory female. And usually, when a predatory female shows you who she is, you better believe who she is the first time, because if you do not believe it the first time, you may not be alive to be able to deal with her the next time. Because when a female is on the 6th level of disrespect, like your Jada Pinkett is, they are practically making plans to take you out of the circle. And they want to do that because they see other simps on the horizon, and they want to gain access to those simps. So your Jada at 48 sees that the relationship between her and Will has deteriorated. She has gotten everything that she has wanted out of this relationship, and she's eyeing the door. But your Will is thinking that, oh, because she says things are worked out, they are worked out, not understanding that predatory females, when they talk, they tell lies, and they lie all the time. So a predatory female will tell you that things are okay, and meanwhile, while she's telling you things are okay, she's making plans to head for the exit, and she's making a final plan to stab you in the back. And this is what your Will Smith isn't seeing, because he's still emotionally involved with your Jada Pinkett. He still has feelings for this woman, and he still can't see her objectively as the female predator she is. This woman who went out of her way to emasculate Snoop Dogg a couple of months ago just emasculated Will on screen. Unfortunately, Will didn't have the critical thinking skills to see how he had just been emasculated and completely clowned, and to see who is the leader in this relationship and who is the one is disrespecting him, and not understanding how important respect is to a relationship. Because when a woman respects a man, she is not going to take that man on a public platform like Red Table Talk to discuss her relationship. No, when a woman respects a man, she is going to take that man in private and talk to that man in private and keep their business out of the street. When a woman really respects a man, they are going to get things worked out between them, and they are going to say, this is between me and him, and when we work it out, it's between us. Then nobody else is coming in, because she understands that her man is a reflection of her, and if her man looks weak, then she looks weak. But Jada has no problem with Will Smith looking weak, because she has no respect for Will Smith. She wanted to coattail ride his access to economic resources when he was the $20 million man at the box office, the box office champ. She loved going to coattail ride this guy because of her hypergamous nature. She saw that the Tupac train had ended, and now she wanted to jump on the Will Smith train. And now that Will Smith is no longer king of the box office and no longer opening up the big movies, your Jada is now looking to monkey branch to the next guy who will give her access to resources in her older age and give her access to fame and attention by being on his coattails. That's why she wanted to get involved with your August Alsina. But with August Alsina not being a superstar like Will Smith, she decided to drop him. And I can clearly see the hypergamy with your Jada Pinkett Smith, and I can clearly see the Will Smith being a complete simp and a cuckold, and him tolerating disrespect that no other man would tolerate out here, because any sane man would sit there and say, you know what, if I'm so-called tired of this woman's disrespect, I'm going to just divorce this woman, especially if she has committed adultery or has been alleged before. Many years ago, many people have alleged that Jada has had affairs on Will Smith. And again, this, under the standard of the living God, would be a cause for divorce. And this would be the cause because this woman is adulterous, and this woman does not want to be a wife in a marriage. No, this woman just wants to be able to piggyback on guys for their popularity, and then once they stop being popular or dead, like in the case of Tupac, they want to go on to the next guy. And again, it's clear to me that Will Smith is not out of his simp phase, and because he's not out of his simp phase, he can't see a clear picture as related to his wife and how his wife has checked out of the marriage emotionally. And when a woman checks out of a marriage emotionally, she might be physically there, but she's thinking about someone else. And if she's not thinking about you, there is no reason for her to be in a relationship, because a woman who wants to be a wife wants to be a helpmeet and a support to a man. She wants that man to be a part of her life the way God would want them to be in God's natural order, and she would want to be supporting that man. She would not want to go out here and look at other men, because to look at other men and lust after them is adultery, and it shows that she is not loyal to the marriage. So your Will Smith is thinking he can possibly save his marriage, but he doesn't understand that his marriage was already done a while ago. And if this woman wants to go, you should let her go, because at 48, she's still thinking that she's still 21 and still thinks she has the looks at 21, but she'll be in for a rude awakening, because these young guys like August Alsina do not see a 48-year-old woman the same way a 21-year-old they see a 21-year-old woman. And that pool of simps she thinks she's going to be able to dive in is a lot less than what she thinks it is. That pool has next to no water in it, and when she crashes to the bottom of it, she would find herself in for a really rude awakening. And that's something Jada Pinkett really doesn't understand, because a lot of these women out here, again, they think when they're older, they still got it like they were younger, but they don't have it like they had when they were younger. And it's not until they make a really bad decision, like divorcing their husband, to go out here and look for a guy out here, that they find out that the younger guys are just using them for fun, and the simps like August Alsina are the rare exception, not the rule. And when they go out here, they find out that the pool of simps is a lot shallower than what they thought it was, because that pool of simps that was chasing them at 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, that pool of simps has practically evaporated, because all of those men are either dead, in prison, or they're married, or they have their own child support issues or family issues. So those men are not available, and they're thinking that there's going to be these guys out here, and they'll find out that the pool is a lot, again, shallower than what they thought. And that's what's coming to Jada Pinkett, but she doesn't see it coming. She's trying to pretend to stay in this bad marriage for life, and sadly, Will Smith can't see the game, because he's just so caught up in his emotions over a woman that he can't stand up and be a man and stand up and take his respect from a disrespectful woman. Now, your Will Smith desperately, as I see it, is a man in crisis, and he needs to read The Man Crisis, and he also needs to pick up Stop Simpin' and The Misadventures of Captain Save-'Em, and he needs to stop trying to save a dysfunctional woman before she slams some kryptonite doo-doo straight in his face. If you want to pick up all of those books, you can pick them up on Amazon.com in Kindle format, and you can pick up Stop Simpin' and The Man Crisis in paperback. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today.